That might have been the worst game I've ever seen Steph Curry play. Seriously. I mean, that was, and you get it. There's excuses. The back is bothering him, fatigue, this time of the season, age, all the more reason why he shouldn't have been playing last night. And my theory is he wasn't going to play. Then they announced Jokic, Murray out, games on ESPN, NBA. Hey, we need you. It'd be great if you could play tonight. And we all know Steph. He's not, he wants to please everybody. He's not going to say no. So he goes out there, not mentally ready to play with a bad back against all these energy, bigger athletes. And that's what it looked like. Now, the rope a dope from Denver. And, I think we all psychologically understand the letdown when stars are missing and a team is up. Because this Warriors team, during this 14-1 stretch with Jimmy, the one caveat I think that people are talking about is, well, they haven't really played anybody, and so in comes Denver, which was the first true maybe measuring stick game for this new look Warriors team, and all their stars are out. And so you're going to naturally have that letdown. But it was way more than that, y'all. It was way more than that, right? And you could see it from the start. What did we miss? 6 of our first 7 free throws. That was one sign, right? But just the inability to get up and down the court, the energy, the lack of focus. And you see, all right, they may throw away a quarter or a half. No, they threw away 3 quarters. And look, this happened. You look around the NBA where the Pacers get the Wolves without Halliburton, without a couple of their starters. Like Houston almost loses to Philadelphia. Like this stuff happens, especially this time of the year with fatigue and teams playing freely and stuff like that. But I think what concerned me most about last night, the most disturbing thing, because the game in a vacuum, it was so bad, you almost couldn't be mad. It was laughable how bad they were playing. Strategically, they were guarding Russell Westbrook like it was 2016, like it was MVP Russ. They were loading up. They were building a wall. They were going over the top of screens and handoffs. And that's what was destroying our half-court defense. They were ball watching. We got Giannis tonight. They were treating Russ like Giannis last night. And again, you got to put a lot of this on the players, just lack of intensity and all that. But the fact that Jerry Stackhouse and that defensive coaching staff couldn't get them to in-game adjust to Russell Westbrook and how they should be playing him was easily the most disturbing thing that happened last night, in my opinion. You guys going all favorites? Who's the underdog this year? Cinderella story? It's March Madness, right? And that means it's bracket time. And most people, I think, fill out multiple brackets. And the reality is it might all be busted on day one. That's why you need to use Pool Genius. It's going to create you an optimized bracket in under a minute using millions of computer simulations and data-driven strategies. Now, you just put in your pool details and let them do the heavy lifting, creating the optimal bracket. 52% of Pool Genius users win a pool every year. It's perfect. Also, like let's just say you're filling out a bracket for work, you don't know anything. Again, give yourself a secret weapon with Pool Genius. So click the link in the description, sign up for the Pool Genius Bracket Optimizer for your unfair March Madness advantage. And so you have Russ putting up his MVP numbers. What do you have, like 15 assists? Because the pick and roll, that's what Russ wants. He wants you to pick up ball pressure on him and guard him up high so he can use screens, he can get downhill. And we catered to that all night long. You thought the second half, all right, get it together, like adjust. And then you had Aaron Gordon going off with 38 points. It looked like Rasheed Wallace. These others hit their shots. And, AG traditionally plays well against us. He's shooting the 3 ball at 45% this year. And this is something that goes back to last year. It was in one of my breakdowns. He finally found his rhythm with his footwork as a shooter, as a catch and shoot guy. I talked about Moses Moody with the foot replace, the hop rhythm, how Moses shoots it better that way. It quickens his shot. Aaron Gordon has that snapping feet. He has that snapping foot rhythm that's made him a much better 3-point shooter. But then he was playing bully ball as well. And he was punishing the switches because, again, we were treating Russ like he was their primary offensive player. It was just mind-boggling. And, someone had said to me on Twitter, like, well, an athletic power forward like that, we need the tape of that. We're like, how do we defend that? And Aaron Gordon, again, traditionally has been a problem for us. And when you look around the rest of the Western Conference and potential playoff matchups, I'd bring up Julius Randle, who could present some of those same problems, Jaren Jackson Jr. in Memphis, and then, of course, LeBron, if he's healthy, because AG, he kind of looked like LeBron down the stretch there, just dropping his shoulder and just manhandling us in the paint. But, if there was a silver lining, end of that third quarter, Kuminga looks like he gets his sea legs. And I saw a lot of JK slander on Twitter. It was the whole team. And yes, his timing is off. You can tell with some of the passing and cutting. And that was the other thing. Clearly, Denver was like, we're not letting you shoot threes. What did we set like a record, 24% from three, 20 turnover. It was a record in the bad way. So not shooting the three ball certainly didn't help our cause. But you have to credit Denver in the defense. There was a reason why we shot the three so poorly. But what we had to do in turn, 4 or 5 minutes into the game, when they realized they're top locking, they're taking away all the threes. Okay, now you got a backdoor, right? You got to cut to the basket. We've seen it. We've known the system for so long. The problem was the Warriors weren't sharp enough to execute that. And that's where the turnovers piled up. Everything was a beat late. And it wasn't just the pass that was late. It was the cutter that was late. There were several times where the guy's waiting to make the pass, but because they're half-heartedly cutting, they're not cutting on time. Now the rotation is there. There's the turnover. Then they're not communicating. And it's, jokes aside about Steph's birthday party or, were they out late because they looked hungover, right? I think it is an accumulation of this last 15 games with Jimmy Butler. How good they've been playing. It's been a sprint and all the juice they've used. Well, there's a cost to it, right? Especially with the older guys. And you can see that the battery is running low right now. But again, the inability for the coaching staff to make that adjustment, it was the most disturbing thing. Back to Kuminga. I got off track here. Third quarter, he starts to find his sea legs, and he's keeping us attached. There was these Jimmy Kuminga minutes where they were both getting downhill, attacking the rim. They started to make their free throws. But maybe most exciting about Kuminga closing that game was he kind of looked like Wiggs there at the point of attack, right? He was blowing things up, and he gave us two-way play to close the game. The frustrating thing was they waited way too long to dial in and try to make a run. And part of, let's be honest, part of this is they're feeling themselves right now. There was some arrogance. And again, you would imagined at the half they would have flipped the switch. They didn't flip the switch till the fourth quarter, and by then it was too late. You see Jimmy get chipped up, diving to the floor, and it hurts almost twice as bad because you kind of get the feeling that the juice they used to try to come back in that fourth quarter, it's going to cost them tonight against this Bucks team. Probably not going to have Steph. Is Jimmy going to play? You saw him take a spill and holding, his neck and his back towards the end of this game. You know what's so ironic, though, is how conservative the training staff is with the young players. Oh, Moody has knee tendonitis. Trace has this, that. They're super cautious with the young guys, and then they roll out Steph over and over again when clearly he needs a rest. I get it. It's maybe desperate. It's because how important he is, but there's a little irony in that, right? And so, look, the Jimmy, Steph, we're going to have to lean on Jonathan Kuminga. We've been waiting for him. He's got a couple games under his belt, and it seems like he's finding his legs. He's got to get his timing together, and they've got to rest Steph. If they rest him tonight against Milwaukee and then Thursday against Toronto, that gives him, 4 days off to recharge the battery, and it's JK's time to shine. Right? Can we get some playoff Jimmy? We got like a little glimpse of playoff Jimmy in the fourth quarter, right? Where it was like, oh, is he taking over here? But there were so many lapses defensively, even though they started to figure things out offensively, because they did make an adjustment offensively in the second half. It was defensively they did. Offensively, I mean, how many split actions can you run? I mean, we ran so many split actions. And what they did in the second half was that Denver was so good at defending the initial strong side split action that they started to get those backdoor cuts on the weak side. And so they adjusted a bit offensively, but defense was the problem. Another thing that I thought in hindsight, it's easy to say, but felt like a Trace Jackson game. We talk about the Aaron Gordon matchup and some of these athletic power forwards. I know Trace hasn't been in the rotation. Maybe it's not fair to ask him to go out there, but not only could we have used some of his rim protection and athletic pop against all their wings, but a vertical spacer, right? And that would have allowed us to maybe play some pick and roll rather than running, 1,000 split actions. And so you imagine Steph rests tonight and maybe the rest of the week. Honestly, can they pick up the slack, whether that be playoff Jimmy, Kuminga finding his legs, Podziemski should be back tonight. This is a portion of the season, a week of the season where the young guys are going to have to carry, and we're going to figure out, are they ready to? Are they ready to? Because we know how important it is in the standings. Minnesota lost, so we stay in the same situation with them, but there was a chance to gain ground, right? I think Memphis had lost, and we know every game down the stretch counts. But yeah, I don't, I'm back to negative out here. No, but I just didn't like that, they should have almost just punted. If y'all didn't want to play until the final 12 minutes, you might as well not have gotten all physical and used all that juice on the back end of a back-to-back. It almost felt like Kerr should have just pulled the vets early in this one. So then we have a shot tonight in this Bucks matchup. You assume you'll see the same defense that you saw against Russ with Giannis, only it makes sense. No, the Bucks, listen, Dame always is going to play well back in the Bay Area. That's going to be tough. But what I am curious is Quentin Post got played off the floor in the first 5 minutes last night, right? They just attacked him relentlessly in pick and rolls, and Porter Jr. coming off pin downs. So you understood why he wasn't played much in the second half with Denver's lineup. But again, that's where I thought Trace might have got those minutes maybe over Looney. But tonight in this Bucks matchup, I am interested to see if Quentin Post can stay on the floor against Lopez and, the locomotive that Giannis is. If he can hold it, he's probably going to get in foul trouble, but can he at least give you minutes where it's not like he's killing us on the defensive end? Because Lopez is a good barometer for him. He's so much stronger. I have a feeling he's going to get put in the basket a little bit, but I'm curious to see if he can give us typical 20 minutes that he has. But bounce back game for everyone. No one played well. You hope Pods can give them some energy because, I think ultimately at the end of the day, listen, if you say, hey, Jokic and Murray played and Denver was at full strength and you looked at this back-to-back, you wanted a split, right? And so however they get it done tonight, if they can get it done, then we can flush last night's game and just say, all right, we split that back-to-back. As always, hit that like, share, and subscribe. I'm out, y'all.